Okay, what do we have? So this is like where we put our extra stuff. And this also has most of my plants that really grow under the grow light. This doesn't get a lot of light here, so that's why I have this grow light on from 6 a.m. until 9 in the evening.
Okay.
During winter, I probably have to shorten that. Everything's on timer and temperature control, like the humidifier. The lights are on timer. Even the fairy lights on the back are on a timer.
I like how you have the sparkly lights in the back.
Well, yeah, it used to be my Christmas decor, but it was so cool blue that it wasn't working with my space. So I'm like, okay, let me put it at the back so that there's some oomph at the back when I record my YouTube videos.
There's oomph. I don't think there's anything that you do, Cyril, that doesn't have a little bit of oomph in them.
So yeah, this is just like a practical take on a corner that we usually have dressers at the bottom. This is like a Facebook Marketplace find. This is an old shelf that I used to have when my collection was more manageable before I upgraded to that bigger shelf.
Yeah.
So I just upcycled them. I, put some sticky paper just so that they have the same woody aesthetic. Installed grow lights from Amazon so that they're on a smart plug. I don't usually use smart devices, but for this one I do.
Yeah.
And then
let me see. What's your humidity is set to 60?
Right now it's 66, but I have it at 70.
Okay. Yeah. At 70.
I've recently started propagating my Hoyas, propagating them into smaller, manageable sizes because I don't have space, so I really have to chop them up into smaller sizes.
The one thing I do like about Hoya is that they do tend to be more compact and manageable than philodendron.
Well, actually, after a while, they will grow wild as well, like the philodendrons. They put out all these tendrils to try to cling on everything.
What is that one? What is this one back here?
That one is a Hoya Fitchii or Finlaysonii.
I like that one a lot.
Right?
I like the veiny
leaves.
Right.
So we also have like the sun-stressed Hoyas here. So like the Hoya erythrinas will turn reddish. Don't mind the water stains because I like misting them. We also have Hoya valmayoriana, the other long leaf sun-stressed ones. So here, pot-wise, they're mostly on self-watering pots, and my medium for them are in Lechuza Pon. It's a German brand. It's an inorganic medium, usually made up of
let me see if I can do.
Made up of. This one is.
Sorry. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, that one has inorganic medium like lava rocks.
It's basically just rocks. Right?
Lava rocks, zeolite. Yeah. But they're inorganic.
It's very similar to, I would say this is very similar to like a LECA setup, no?
Yeah, very similar, correct. Same principle, passive hydro or semi-hydro.
So down here there's a wick, right?
Yeah,
2 wicks.
So that's a wicking system. The plants just naturally soak up the water based on their thirst. All I need to do is fill up the water reservoir at the bottom.
Is this like a twist off? What is it?
Yeah, it's a twist off. And you could also
you can just put the water in there. I see. Is this like an Amazon sort of thing?
Yeah, it's an Amazon thing.
Sweet.
Most are actually this kind of model. Because this one you could like really just lift the thingy.
Oh, I see. But I mean, both models seem very efficient. Very, very cool. I like your fishtail Hoya, right? This is the fishtail?
Yeah, the
Linares?
Yeah.
Oh, the Polynara. Your leaves are dark.
Yeah, that one is darker. I don't know if it's just how the Andes orchids grew it, but it retained its darker leaf.
I really like this dark version. Normally you see it much lighter. You can still, it's like dark enough, but you can still see the veins ish kind of thing. But I like how dark it is. Very, very cool specimen, man.
Yeah, some more Hoyas and trellises, so I tried to contain them.
I like that you have such a wide variety of plants. Not even just species, but like plant types. You have philodendrons, monsteras, your anthuriums, Hoyas, Hypersia. I saw like an orchid at some point.
Yeah, I'm starting to fall in love with orchids, but yes, that's kind of like me trying to get whatever I want from a specific genus, but also not just limiting myself to a certain genus. So I have a little bit of everything.
I like this. What is this?
It's a Hoya retusa, a smaller one.
I don't know why. Like it just amuses me. Like these ones that look like just twigs and sticks.
Grass.
It just like amuses me that's kind of what they do.
So yeah, I just try to squeeze as much as I can under a small shelf. Pray that they don't grow too fast, so I don't have to move them that fast.
This is a popular one, I've heard.
Yeah, that's a Hoya carnosa Nova Ghost. So it's kind of considered like a rarer Hoya, which I just acquired through a trade.
I think this is one of the more common Hoyas. Right?
Yeah, that's a popular one. The Callistophila. I think everybody starts with that.
Right. Your Warquiniums are back there.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about how you space your plants or how you think about fitting all these plants in. It seems like this is a very packed shelf.
Definitely. Well, like what I told you, I need to find the balance of them. I mean, this is cluttered for most people, but for me, I think they look organized. They fit a jungly vibe. So yeah, I just try to take into consideration how they grow. Like I would put the trailing ones at the edge of the shelf, the ones that are more vertical growing, like the anthuriums in the back, so that they won't get a lot of the direct light, so that the leaves won't flip backwards as well. That way they grow forward. Yeah. And then the smaller ones I try to arrange, whereas if they ever grow like tendrils, I can still put them in trellises. And then I also take into consideration which Hoyas like more light, which like less. So they're strategically placed throughout the shelf.
Yeah. I'm looking at the trellises that you use. This is like you use mostly metal trellises.
Yeah, the copper ones right now.
These are copper, right? Very, very nice. How often are you in this room doing something or another?
I mean, every night I would go here whenever I talk to my friends or relatives. I'm on a phone call, I'd be in this room because I'm fondling on a leaf, admiring a new Hoya bloom or something. Or I'm playing with the cats. This is where they hang out, sleep during the day. And when I get home, they're usually here too. And they like to perch by the window. So yeah, I'm spending like a good amount of time here if I'm not watching TV or on the couch.
I noticed that a lot of these plants are potentially poisonous to cats. But I assume that they're just sort of like used to them, or how did you train them to stay away, or?
Well, it has a lot of credit goes to the type of breed of cats that I have. So they're Persian Himalayan cats, and they're really known to be lazy. So they won't go into, I mean, at one point, my youngest cat tried to squeeze herself inside one of these shelves when I was taking the plants out, cleaning them up, and then she would see a vacancy and she would hop right in. But most of the time, they're really lazy. They don't care. They just need to perch by the window, watch the birds, the butterflies, the squirrels, and they don't care. They don't nibble on the plants. That's why they're also strategically placed in shelves or in hanging through by the walls and stuff like that.
What is this one?
It's a Pallidiflorum, Anthurium Pallidiflorum.
Very cool. Ooh, what is this one? Oh, can I take this one down?
Yeah, that's Hoya SP Perak Malaysia. So that's one of the new ones that I imported.
Ooh, this.
The leaves are.
This looks sick. And the leaves these are large leaves. They're about what, 6-inch leaves.
Yes.
Whew. And then the edges are a little bit like rough, crinkly, very, very Jurassic. Yeah. Jurassic looking. How often are you in here watering? Every day? Are you doing watering something or another every day?
Well, I would check the reservoir if one is completely dried up, but I usually can get away with leaving a self-watering planter dried up for at least a week. It should still be okay. So I'm here every day, hanging out, doing something like, like those, I would check if the meters are super down or if the moss is already starting to dry up. Then I would refill those.
You have a Thai constellation here.
Yeah,
Good
a
size.
bigger Thai constellation.
Yeah.
That's actually a friend of mine's. I'm just babysitting it for 2 years now. But yeah, it was really damaged when I adopted it for a while, and then it started to put out more, well, nicer leaves, but it's not as matured as the old ones because it doesn't get a lot of light here. But now with the grow light situation, it's starting to develop.
Yeah.
Even this is my friend's Linares. So both of us imported them from Europe back in 2018, and just the comparison of what's locally grown now.
Oh yeah. I remember a couple years back the Linares was very hard to find, and everyone was importing from Europe,
Mm-hmm.
and you would import like tiny strands, right? Like you wouldn't get this much.
Oh no, back in 2018 in Europe you could import this much already.
Oh, I see. Okay.
But people started to resell them for
Right.
like a few strands for like $100.
Yep. Yeah. That's
And,
that's what I was remembering. Yeah.
and then now I'm glad that it's not that expensive anymore, and you could, because they grow really fast. I
Yeah.
don't see the point why they would be
So,
100 for one strand.
I agree. I agree. Oh, I like. Man, I did not know that the Persia did this little, like the newer ones,
Mhm.
the newer parts are closed and they have these little thingamajiggies.
Yeah, and then when they
And then
split and then open up.
yeah, I've only seen this part of the Persias, and now that I see this, adds a whole new element to the game. Very, very cool. Oh, what is this thing?
So that's fairly new, maybe 2 months. That's a skeleton fern. I could
Oh,
never pronounce the name.
it's a fern.
Cytolum,
Oh.
something.
You're getting into the fern game?
Yeah, I like that one because it just like the Persias, they're not usual. And when I saw it on Etsy, I'm like, ooh, pretty cool.
Right.
I don't know how well it'll do with self-watering, but so far it didn't dry or drop any leaf yet, so looks good.
Do you have any tips? Like, I know how much you interact with your fans and you have so much interactions on Instagram. Do you have any tips for someone who is sort of like starting out a plant room like this?
Well, it the number one tip would be to really know like how you are as a plant parent. Like for me, I tend to overwater. That's when I recently discovered like maybe self-watering is the way to go because I still get to water but not the plant, only the reservoir.
That is genius, right? You
And
can you
then
can water the reservoir every day.
every day, yeah. The minute that it drops a little, I'm like, oops, water, refill. So that way the plant thrives without being compromised or you having to change the way that you are, I guess. And then just do what works for you. For me, a lot, when I was starting, a lot of it was budget constraints, and I'm very with money.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
don't want to be like blow off $300 on a plant shelf. So exhaust your options like thrift because it's also
Mm-hmm.
environmentally friendly. You're not,
Mm-hmm.
we're trying to reduce products that go to the dump. Also, do what works for you. Like, if this one doesn't get enough light, then that's when I resorted into doing grow lights. I mean, it
Mm-hmm.
does consume electricity, but
But it's
it,
super minimal. I think like your entire light setup in a year would probably cost you like $5 in electricity. These are LEDs.
mhm, these are
Super
LEDs.
cheap, right?
And you could put them on timers, so they
Mm-hmm.
have to. You don't have to be on all the time. You don't have to remember to turn them on or off. Everything's on my phone control now. So even if if there's a power outage, I could turn them on even when I'm not home, or off rather. And then just take into consideration like what you really think are the plants that would thrive for you because
Mm-hmm.
it'll really save you a lot. In the beginning, I would be like hoarding calatheas from the grocery store because they're cheap, they're beautiful, but even if I tend to overwater, they still don't thrive with the way that I am. I never water with purified water,
Mm-hmm. I
just
agree.
straight from the tap. So knowing that, it would not work for me. Peperomias also don't do well with me, so I tend to gravitate towards the ferns that like to stay moist and more forgiving when I overwater them, or the Hoyas that I could put in self-watering planters that would not die on me when I
That's
overwater.
that's so smart of you to say. Like, people don't think about that. Like, you got to realize how you are as a planter, and what kind of, I guess, what tendencies you have, and then also like how much time and energy and economics that you have to spend in something like this.
Yes, for a lot of my friends, they tend to underwater, so I always give them options like maybe you can do self-watering. That way, even if you're gonna forget, there's always a reservoir that your plant, and even overwatering, people could go towards the self-watering pot, or or just amending your soil, knowing what type of plant parent you are. You could adjust your soil so that it would still be good for your plant, but it would also compensate with whatever plant parent you are.
I'm actually impressed that like you have basically so many varieties of plants, and they're all in basically self-watering. They're all doing so well. How long have you done the self-watering thing?
I only started in September, I believe, of last year. That's when I started doing a lot of the pond game, self-watering.
I don't know what else to say, man. This is like the fact that you have like 3 plant areas.
One of the secrets wherein you could manage a large collection is designating plant areas. Like
Oh,
at the end of the day,
designating.
yeah, when I walk here, I know all the plants are here. So I just like do a quick scan, like which water levels are low. I'd be carrying like my watering cans, and I would just like refill everything. And then as long as the electricity is good, the lights turn on and off, I will make sure that my humidifier is on and off, or I mean, like has enough water and everything. Just like a little scan, and that's basically it. I don't really like ogle on them like one by one. It doesn't take a lot of time. I mean, I spend more time like playing, but not a lot of time doing plant care actually.
That's good. That's the way to enjoy the hobby, really.
Mhm.
Sweet, man.